Google's version of scholarly research. And I can just put in the title of the article. And I put it in quotes so that it's searching it as a phrase, all those words together. And then I run the search. And you'll notice that it's this first one up here, right? That's the right journal and the right author. So when I went to Web of Knowledge, Web of Science, it told me that this article was cited 9 times. When I go to Google Scholar, it's telling me it was cited 63 times. So there's a couple things going on. One is that, again, Web of Knowledge, Web of Science doesn't cover everything, so it's probably there's going to be a number greater than 9. I don't know what that number is going to be. 63, those could be some duplicates. Google doesn't always dedupe, so it could be, maybe there's 40, but some of them are duplicates. But again, I can just click on this cited by 63, and it's going to show me those 63 sources. The other thing I'll just point out is when I'm in Web of Knowledge, Web of Science, I know all the journals that are included in it, right? I can look at that list. Obviously, with Google Scholar, they don't have a clear list of everything that they're searching, so that's why you need to be cautious.
It's everything in the world.
Of course.
That's
yeah.
Google's motto.
Except China.
So now I hit that 63, and it's going to show me the 63 items that cited that. So again, that's called a cited reference search, and it's just going forward in the process.
There's another way that you could think about this too. If you have a particular author that is prominent in your field, and maybe you were going to get to this too, Kate, but you can do a search based on that author's works. So if you know of someone in the counseling field that is sort of a preeminent researcher, you can do a search just related to that particular person's work.
Yeah, you can just search by that author and see everything that they work on. Are there any questions about that? Following different references? Well, the one other thing I'll point out is, so you have an article, for example, and you look at the reference list and you see something you want to find. So you see something referenced and you say, oh, that looks like something I want to look at. How do you know if you have it in the library? How you know is if you go to the library's homepage and you search for the journal where that article is published. So I have another example on the back of the handout where I have an article from Principal Leadership. So if I was trying to find this article, I don't necessarily know if the library has it in paper or online. And maybe I think they have it online, but I don't know what database to go to. So I need to search for it first. So this is, again, if you know a specific article, or perhaps you know a specific journal. So maybe you know that a specific journal is kind of the key journal in the field, so you want to see what's being published in that journal. So I put in Principal Leadership, and I want the high school edition. So what this is telling me is that when it says print holdings, that's copies that are in the library, paper copies. And then when it says something else, it's the name of a database. So in this case, OmniFile Full Text is a database, and it covers this Principal Leadership from October 2000 to the present. So you need to pay attention to the dates. So since my article is from 2003, I should be able to get it online through this other database. So in this instance, it's just going to take a couple more clicks to get there. So I'm going into the database where I know they have this journal. And in some instances, it takes you right to a page about the journal, but unfortunately, this database doesn't have that. So I have to type in Principal Leadership again, but sometimes you won't have to. And then I can just put part of the title in. And I can say Principal Leadership is the journal. instance, what I would say is that these are probably the exact same article and the database just made a mistake. Because everything's the same except high school edition and middle school edition, right? It's the same volume, the same number, the same date, the same page numbers. So it doesn't really make sense that there's two listings. So if I select that PDF, I get the temporarily unavailable. That's not
It's because the other one was using it.
good. Maybe because they knew it was a mistake. Let's see. Yeah, that is interesting. Well, here's the article. So if you want the full text of the article, it's right there. And again, when you see something like this, I would just assume there's some mistake on the end of the database. So that's how you go about finding a specific article that you were looking for, or a specific journal. You have to go through that journal's The only other thing I wanted to cover was two other things quickly. One is just to point out a database called Journal Citation Reports. And this is a database that tells you what is called the impact factor of a journal. Has anyone heard that term before? Or a high impact journal? Well, it's used more in the sciences, but it is used in some other areas too. And basically, it's giving a numerical number to a journal based on how many times articles in that journal are cited by other people. So if it's a high impact journal, it's supposed to be kind of like a top tier journal because people are reading it, they're citing it, they're using it for research. So I just wanted to point out that there is a database called Journal Citation Reports where you can get that information. So if you were doing research in a particular area, you could look up and see what are the top journals in that area and then go to those.
Let's pick an example. Does somebody have a topic area? Like a broad area, like collaboration? Okay.
Well,
It would probably need to be in a content area, like in
yeah, it needs to be
like special
subject.
education or
So we've got science and we've got social science. So I go to social science, and they don't have everything. I think they have special education, which would be the closest for education and educational research. So I'm going to go to special education, and then I'm going to say I want to see the list by impact factor and submit. And I can't tell you. We can look it up, but I don't have memorized what all these different immediacy index, cited half-life, I don't have that all memorized. So we have to look that up. But the overall impact factor is what people sometimes look at. So in this instance, it looks like the top journal in this area is Research in Developmental Disabilities. And then we have Research in Autism Spectrum Disorders. So this is just another way to explore what are kind of key journals included if you're not sure. And then the last thing is just about citing your sources. There is a good website that I recommend. It's out of Purdue University. And if you just Google APA OWL, it'll come up as the first thing. So it's the online writing lab. And they have just more or less all the information you'll need to do the citing your resources. So they have, how do you cite books, how do you cite articles, and then they have good examples. So it's a pretty nice place to go. In the library, we have the full book. So we always have a copy that's in the building, and I think